Hello again, class. Now let's talk about genre review and suggestions. On your book of the month to read form, write down any authors or books that sound interesting for each genre. Remember that you can pause the video or go back if I'm moving too quickly. The point of this is to remember what are the different genres and to start writing down some ideas of authors you might read. You do not have to read the authors you write down. But it's it's just some ideas so you can have a starting place. All right, genres of fiction. Fiction is fake, made up, not real. On last week's reading log, I was very concerned how many of you were putting genres that I never went over with you. Some of you were putting genre is fiction because that's what's on the back of your book. Well, your book, the publisher that made that book, is being lazy. We're not talking about fiction as the genre. I want to know what genre of fiction or what genre of nonfiction. So you absolutely need to stop writing the genre is fiction. I will take off points for that. That is not what I'm teaching you. I want to know what genre of fiction it is. I understand the back of the book said that it was fiction as the genre. The book is being lazy. So you know what the different genres are. This is the second time we've gone over them. Okay, our first genre that we're reviewing is fantasy. This contains elements that are supernatural, such as talking animals or magical powers. Setting may include make-believe worlds and non-human characters. Authors like J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter is fantasy. Yes, he rides around on a broom and plays Quidditch. That's fantasy. Be fun, but it doesn't really happen. Rick Riordan, he writes the Percy Jackson series. There's also movies that go with those, so you might want to use those for your book versus movie. John Flanagan, this is such a fantastic series, and I don't think a lot of students read it. It's called the Ranger's Apprentice series. Really recommend you check that out. I was totally addicted to that series when it came out. Garth Nix is not a well-known author, but I really like his Days of the Week series, Mr. Monday, Mr. Tuesday, Mr. Wednesday. You can get the drift. But it's really great, and they're rather short and quick to read. So if you're looking for a fantasy book that can be read quickly, go for that. I don't have any of those books, any of the Garth Nix books, because all of mine have been stolen and never returned. So you'll have to go to the public library or the school library for those. Okay, science fiction is another genre that I know quite a bit about because I read a lot of fantasy and science fiction. So if you need recommendations beyond these, talk to me. Science fiction is a story that blends futuristic technology with scientific fact and fiction. Usually set way in the future, may have other planets or galaxies and include alien creatures. Some suggested authors are Margaret Peterson Haddix. She writes this series called Among the Hidden, which is set in a futuristic, like alternative world, planet Earth, where the government does not allow you to have more than one child. And the main character is a second child who has grown up hiding from the government. And then he discovers he's not the only second child. It's really good. Good book. Maximum Ride series. It's a longer series, but it's written by James Patterson. If you've read the iFunny Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life, that series, that's the same author. This is just his science fiction work. Longer, but really good because it's about this group of teenagers who escaped this laboratory where they were raised, and they have all these like superhero powers. And if you look at the picture of the story down there, they have wings. They can fly. So they're trying to escape from the laboratory, or is it the government? They're trying to escape from the people who are trying to put them back in the lab. Good stories. Orson Scott Card, he writes the Ender's Game series. Again, that is a story that's been turned into a movie. It is a long book. I will be honest with you. It's a long book, but it moves along pretty well. Hive is a series I have not read, but a number of my students really like it. They seem to be shorter books, shorter science fiction, but the students seem to really enjoy those. So those are some ideas. Again, pause the video if you need to write down some of these titles. Okay, realistic modern. This is stories that have made up characters. They are not real characters. They don't exist on this planet and have never existed on this planet. They exist in our imagination. It takes place in modern times, like right now, and could realistically happen. It does not contain magic or supernatural elements. I need to really talk to you guys about the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, because a large number of you last week told me that Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a biography. A biography is about a real person. The main character is not real. He's only like in our mind. He is not on this planet currently. Never has been. So do not keep writing down Diary of a Wimpy Kid as a biography or an autobiography. It's realistic fiction. Some other great authors, Walter Dean Myers, who writes about like tough kids living on the tough streets, making tough decisions. So very like raw and real kind of writing. Sharon Flake is another great one. She has her first book, which I read and I just loved, is called The Skin I'm In. Really good about self-esteem and whether or not you're going to follow the crowd. Her second book, Money Hungry, really, really good as well. Actually, I think even better because it's about a girl who is obsessed. Oh boy. Anyway, the character is obsessed with making money and being rich, and then they have to make a decision about what they're willing to do that, to become rich. Are they willing to steal or are they willing to lie? So it's a good book. Moves along really well. Mike Lupica writes books that are about sports. So he has some that are about soccer. He has some about basketball, football, that kind of stuff. A lot of my students who are really into sports really like Mike Lupica. Okay. Next category. Again, these are our genres, not fiction as a genre, but like historical fiction. Historical is a fictional story set in the past with real and invented characters that take part in actual historical events. So Mildred D. Taylor is a fantastic author. She's got a book called Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. Really great. Main character is a really tough gal, tough young lady who totally gets in a fight. It's great. My students always love reading that one. Christopher Paul Curtis, you might have read his book, Bud Not Buddy, with like your 4th or 5th grade teacher. He's got another great one. I have a picture down there. The Watsons Go to Birmingham. Very good as well. Lawrence Yep writes a great series about Chinese immigrants in the 1800s. One Crazy Summer is about these 3 sisters who have to go live with their aunt in New York in like the 1960s or 70s. It's funny and it's pretty short, so that can be a really great one for a quick read. Fevers 1793. You guys are studying at this point. I believe you should be studying the colonies, and during the colonies, this story, Fevers 1793, is set where the colonies, there's a plague that happens in this one girl's village. Really good book. All right, next we have Suspense. These are exciting stories about a mystery, puzzling event that is not solved until the end of the story. Characters try to solve a crime or unexplained event. Anthony Horowitz writes the Alex Rider series. Really good teenage boy who is also a spy. So lots of great adventures there. A lot of you probably read Goosebumps in elementary school by R.L. Stine. Those are also suspense. Horror is a type of suspense. I would really encourage you to try his Fear Street series. It's not quite so 4th grade, so try Fear Street series. Lois Duncan writes really great stories about teenagers who like make bad decisions or get kidnapped or whatever. So, consider Lois Duncan for some really good, exciting reads. I've got a number of students who have really gotten into her books. Okay, 2 more categories. We're almost done. Let's talk about genres of nonfiction. Nonfiction means not fake. It is real. It is true. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, we've got biography. This is a story of a real person's life. There's two different types. There's a biography, which is the life story of a real person written by another person. So they're telling us about someone else. Or an autobiography. This is the life story of a real person written by that person. So examples would be I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, Harriet Tubman, Guide to Freedom, Michael Jordan, a biography. Really great book I would highly recommend is We Beat the Streets. I put a picture of it down there about these three boys who live in, I think it's the Bronx or Harlem, somewhere in New York. Lots of gangs and drugs and that kind of bad stuff. And they agree, I think when they were in middle school, that they were going to all three graduate from college. And it's their story of how they did that. They're all three doctors. Like, these are real guys who really did this. So it's really great. Unbreakable. That one I included. I have not read it. I cannot say if it's quality. I can say a number of my students were reading it last year. And that one's an autobiography. She wrote that book about her life. So that one I'm including because a lot of people recognize it. Last category, informational. These books contain facts about a variety of topics, and they're designed to help readers learn more. So we've got sports or animals, maybe a hobby you like. If you read about basketball, that would be informational. If you read about Michael Jordan and his life, that's not informational. That is a biography. See the difference? About a person, about a thing. Okay, animals. Sharkpedia, a lot of my students have enjoyed that one. As far as I know, they're getting it from the public library. I don't think our school library has it. I know I don't have it. A number of my students were really into looking at that last year, passing it around. Lots of pictures of sharks. I don't like sharks, so I don't have it in my room, but a number of students have really liked it. If you read a book about Minecraft, not a story based on Minecraft, but about the game Minecraft, like how to get better at it, that would be informational. Now, a magazine about Minecraft is not a book, so that does not count. You cannot read a magazine and say, well, it's informational. So it has to be a book. Okay, I hope this gets you started with filling out your to-read list. Now keep in mind your to-read list is just ideas. I'm not going to compare it. Like if you decide that you want to read fantasy in September and on your to-read list you've got, biography, I'm not going to get on your case about that. Your to-read list is just ideas. You can read the genres in whatever order you want. So this is just a place to gather ideas. Now, let's gather some more book ideas. You're going to go to the About section of your Google Classroom, same place where you found these videos. And you're going to see more books and authors suggested. I have a list of books. Use that list to go to arbookfind.com. The link is in the Google Classroom in the About section under Book of the Month. And you're going to search for different titles and authors and read some book descriptions and add anything that sounds really good to you. Remember, you can also ask your friends. If you're super stuck, ask me as well. I've got, lots and lots of books that I've seen kids read and I have read myself. So, I'm a resource for you. Keep in mind that if you go to AR Bookfind, be sure to select on the left side of the screen, middle grade or middle grade plus, so you don't end up with little kid books like Rainbow Fish, because that's a cute story, but it's definitely not a book I'm going to let you spend a month reading. Like at all. No. Yeah, no, you're not. No, not Rainbow Fish. So 100 words. No, 100 words. 100-page book. You need to read a 100-page book. Okay. All right. You're going to do great. Super excited about our Book of the Month challenge. You can do this.